Hey everyone. Hey all you pot smokers. This is another video I'm making. Once again, it's just more confirmation. And all you gotta do is look through my past videos and some of the predictions I made and realize that, damn it, Bennett was right once again. Headline of the CBC News. Government releases legal limits for drug driving, but can't say how much pot is too much. Federal government and experts say they expect the new offenses to be challenged in court, but it don't matter, challenged in court or not. This happened through when they were going through the multiple steps of criminalizing and penalizing to the fullest extent of the law people that drink alcohol, right? I mean, they've treated people that consume alcohol as second-class citizens in this country for decades now. And I dare say all of you that watch this video, I guarantee you probably know at least one person that have been screwed over by the government through these political edicts, because it has nothing that's based on genuine law, right? Because you can be charged in Canada, whether it's 0.05 in some provinces or 0.08, and be deemed impaired regardless of whether you actually are impaired or not. It's just an arbitrary number that they come up with that's a one-size-fits-all for everybody, right? And so you know whether it's the level of competence in regards to your driving skills or your own biology or physical composition and makeup that affects how impaired you may very well be as a direct consequence, as a direct result of consuming alcohol. I mean, that's so wide-ranging, but like I said, government, central planners, they're lazy, inept, control freaks, and sociopaths. So they don't give a shit about freedom or doing the right thing for each individual. They just, like I say, they created one-size-fits-all and punish anyone that doesn't fit into those narrow parameters. And it's going to happen for you drug smokers too, you pot smokers. So as much as you people, and I've heard some of you comment in my videos in the past, like, oh no, the government will never do that. Yeah. You're obviously very young and very naive. Watch and learn. Watch this reality play out before your own eyes, because you'll be kicking yourself in the ass later on, or hoping that you had shoved your fucking foot in your mouth when you were trying to detract or deny the kind of stuff that I've been telling you for all this time. The federal government has released a draft on its planned drug concentration levels, but admits the new rules provide no guidance on how much marijuana it would take to push a driver over the legal limit. Of course they don't. Just like with alcohol. There's no fucking way you could possibly know, because each human being, like, we're not autonomous robots and don't have the exact same level of competence and skills or how much alcohol we consume before we are genuinely impaired, or drugs in this matter. It should be noted that THC is a more complex molecule than alcohol, and the science is unable to provide genetic guidance to drivers about how much cannabis can be consumed before it is unsafe to drive or before the proposed level would be exceeded, an analysis statement released with the draft regulation said. The government also says that it cannot provide drivers any guidance as to how long they should wait before driving, operating a boat, train, or aircraft after consuming cannabis. Well, that's another thing too, at least with alcohol. But like I say, listen, I'm going to make this point one last time before I continue on. It's completely arbitrary in nature, right? So when you hear people that are charged with impaired, even though part of your psychology will fucking, alarm bells will go off because you've been taught to hate people that consume alcohol because you automatically associate them with people that are out there killing, poor innocent kids or innocent victims in other vehicles or bystanders or pedestrians, right? But that's what the political propagandists, that's what the narrative makers, that's what they do. That's what the political or pundit class does, right? They confuse and confound you to the point that you will accept wholly the authority or the pretense of the expertise of your central plan overlords or those in academia or those that fall under that umbrella. In addition to all those realities, one thing I will say and accept is cannabis stays in your system for a whole lot longer than alcohol. So you might have smoked a doobie on the weekend, and it could be Tuesday or Wednesday, and you get pulled over by your local Gestapo, your local mindless enforcer of the state that will pull you over and do the little tests, right? And deem you impaired just based on their own personal observations, whether they're real or not, but their observations will be one deciding factor on whether you are deemed impaired through the court system, right? So just once again, just the opinions of a fallible human being, that will be one measure. Or the fact that you have so many nanograms of THC in your system, right? Which, like I said, if you're a smoker that smokes at least occasionally on the weekend, well, like I said, that's going to stay in your system, and you're probably going to have those elevated levels of THC in your system even Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So once again, arbitrary numbers are going to be a determining factor to dictate whether you're going to be criminalized and punished based on these new laws that they're introducing, right? How you liking that legalization so far, Canada? Not quite working out to be what you thought it would be? Well, that's what happens when you bring government into any equation. When you ask government for permission to do anything or to get involved in any segment of your social or economic lives, yeah, this is what you should expect. But like I say, you younger millennials that fucking fell for this shit, it tells me that, yeah, you listen way too much to the fucking authoritarians that were trying to, that educated you throughout that whole process. Well, you didn't have anyone in your family that taught you some good critical thinking skills? You actually believed, you were actually naive enough to believe that government has your best interests at heart, and if they legalize it, it's because they care about you and your freedoms. Like I say, wow, you have to really start to learn and understand the kind of people that go into the positions of so-called authority or that become police officers, right? Because if you actually believe that these people have your best interests at heart, like, wow, talk about naive. In this context, the safest approach to anyone who chooses to consume cannabis is to not mix their consumption with driving. So if you smoke on the weekend, just don't drive for a couple weeks. I don't know how the fuck you're going to, I guess you might as well get used to taking public transportation everywhere you go, right? Shit. The lack of clarity worries Kyla Lee, a Vancouver-based criminal defense lawyer who specializes in impaired driving cases. That is incredibly troubling because as the public, we have no knowledge of what it is we can and can't do and what it is we should do. She said that simply saying, don't use marijuana and drive isn't good enough. Lee points to the differences in how each person metabolizes marijuana and how long traces of the drug can stay in someone's system. So like I said earlier, you can never actually know if you're complying or not complying with the law, she says. Same with alcohol. There's no way you can comply or know to comply other than what? Hoping that you meet this arbitrary number that they come up with and conjure in their mind that will be the ultimate decider and dictate of whether you're impaired or not. Has nothing to do with actually whether you were impaired or any observable realities suggesting you were, like video evidence or anything like that. No, it's just, oh, you exceeded this number, so therefore you're impaired, right? Collectivism rears its ugly head once again. The government has drafted legislation that would create 3 new offenses for drug driving, including a summary offense for people with THC in their system, but not enough for them to be impaired, but still going to be criminal, right? So even if you're not impaired, you're still going to be considered a criminal. You're still going to have that criminal record hanging over your head for all those years, right? And preventing you from seeking occupation or many other aspects of your life that you'll be treated like a second-class citizen as a result. The government explains that the summary offense is not directly linked to impairment, but rather is based on a precautionary or a crime prevention approach. Drivers who have a blood drug concentration of more than 2 nanograms of THC per milliliter of blood, but less than 5 nanograms, could be found guilty of drug driving under the proposed summary offense, which has a maximum fine of $1,000. Drivers caught with more than 5 nanograms of THC in their blood would be guilty of impaired driving, while drivers with both alcohol and THC in their system would be considered impaired if they had more than 50 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milligrams of blood and greater than 2.5 nanograms of THC in their blood. The government said the other 2 proposed offenses would be similar to the offenses for drunk driving. Drivers with more than 5 nanograms of THC in their blood would be punished with a mandatory fine of $1,000 for a first offense, 30 days imprisonment for a second offense, and 120 days for a third offense. The summary conviction charge in particular has many lawyers concerned. That is a tricky and perhaps unconstitutional proposition where we're looking at criminal sanctions, said Ottawa criminal defense lawyer Michael Spratt. Spratt's primary concern is that the summary conviction would mean a criminal record for people who aren't even considered impaired under the regulations. That can make it harder to travel internationally and create problems when volunteering or applying for a new job or housing. We're going to stigmatize a large number of people who are not acting according to the regulations in a dangerous manner, said Spratt. No different than like my impaired driving charge. I never did anything to cause any harm to anyone and that was on an ATV, but like I say, these arbitrary dictates and mandates by these central planning authoritarians and control freaks, like I say, they don't give a shit about anything that has to do with morality. It's all about generating revenue for the state and being authoritarian to keep you in line and show that they have control over every aspect of your life. And if Canadians are willing to conform to this kind of shit, like I said, you might have been willing in the past to say, I don't give a fuck, I'm not an alcohol drinker, so fuck what they do to the alcohol, people that drink alcohol. Or even people that smoke cigarettes. Fuck how bad the government treats people who smoke cigarettes and how restrictive they are and how much taxation theft they use towards people that, smoke cigarettes on a habitual basis, right? Hey, I'm a weed smoker, I'm different. Well, now they're coming for you. Now it's your turn. You should have been showing solidarity with the rest of us and being principled then, right? But you will, I expect, at some stage going forward or in the near future. Once you come to realize that now you're being tossed into the same group and in the same boat as the rest of us. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.